Kagome Kagome is a popular children's song, but the lyrics are also confusing and said to be laden with hidden meaning. According to some, the song is a story of a girl sold into prostitution, while others claim it's a tale of bullying. Others claim it leads to the lost Tokugawa treasure, and some even claim it has Hebrew origins. Regardless of what you believe, there's no denying that the lyrics behind this popular children's song hold a dark and twisted meaning. Hello, and welcome to Toshiden, exploring Japanese urban legends. I'm your host, Tara A. Devlin, and on this show we'll be looking at different urban legends from Japan, how they came about, and, when possible, the truth behind them. If you want even more urban legends, make sure you pick up Toshiden Volume 3 for a whole bunch you'll find only in the books. And, if you haven't checked it out yet, we also have our own store, with shirts, mugs, stickers, hats, and much more. You can find that at kawabana.store. That's kawabana.store. This week we're looking at the popular children's song and game, Kagome Kagome, and the many legends that surround it. During the game, one child sits in the middle of the circle with their eyes closed, while the other children hold hands and dance around them, singing the lyrics until the song is over, and the child in the middle must guess who it is that's standing behind them. It's believed the song has been around since at least the Edo era, although potentially earlier than that as well. And while each region passed down their own version of the lyrics, these were solidified in the early Showa era, thanks to the composer Yamanaka Naoji, who transcribed and recorded the song in Noda City, Chiba Prefecture, before sharing it with the rest of the country. This version has become the standard that children sing today. The most basic version goes as follows. Kagome Kagome, kago no naka no tori wa, itsu itsu de aru, yoake no ban ni, tsuru to kame ga subetta, ushiro no shoumen dare. Kagome Kagome, the bird in the cage. When will you come out? In the night of dawn. The crane and turtle slipped. Who is it that's behind you? If the song doesn't make a lot of sense, you're not alone. It doesn't make much sense in Japanese either, and for that very reason, it has been the subject of heavy debate over the years. This debate has brought rise to numerous urban legends that purport to reveal the hidden truth of the song, thanks to its ambiguous lyrics. So, what's really going on? One of the biggest and most confusing parts of the song is the very first word, Kagome. This is traditionally spelt using hiragana, one of the Japanese phonetic character systems where the characters themselves carry no meaning and only represent a sound. As such, we can't use kanji to surmise what the meaning behind the word might be. The word kagome alone has been hotly debated over the years, and one theory is that the word represents a woman trapped in a cage, or in other words, a prostitute. Kago can mean many things, but one of the more common meanings is cage or basket. The verb kagomu also means to surround something, to encircle it, enclose it, fence it in, etc., which is where the noun kago comes from. Me is one of the readings for the character of woman, and so kagome might potentially mean a caged woman. As mentioned earlier, Kagome Kagome has been around for a long time, over 100 years at least, and potentially much longer. For much of Japanese history, anyone who wasn't a noble generally led a rough, poor life. It wasn't uncommon for farming families to sell their children to pay off debts when bad weather caused a smaller than expected harvest, or destroyed it entirely. Boys were sold as slaves or workers, but girls were sent to brothels to work off their family's debts. If this happened, a girl was not able to leave until she had paid off her family's debt, however long that might take. These girls sometimes referred to themselves as a bird stuck in a cage, because just like a bird in a cage, they were unable to leave their confines, their freedoms stripped away. Looking at the next line of the song, it even says, "Itsu itsu dearu," which can be read as, "When will I be able to leave?" The following line, "The night of dawn," is a contradiction that can be taken to mean all day long, while "the crane and turtle slipped" can be seen as a metaphor for the acts that she must carry out with men to earn money. "Who is it that's behind you?" also suggests that the girl's next business transaction is already lined up and waiting for her, even if she can't see him yet. It's certainly a depressing interpretation of the lyrics, but it's not impossible to see how this theory came about. Yet another theory suggests that this is the story of a bullied child. As mentioned earlier, Kagome is a verb meaning to surround something, to fence something in. By making this verb into an imperative, it becomes Kagome. Kagome, Kagome. Surround them, surround them. When children bully another child, it's not uncommon to first trap the child in a circle of their peers and then hurl abuse at them. The bird in the cage in this one is a bullied child, wondering when they will be able to get out of the cage that their supposed friends have trapped them in. And similar to these two, another theory suggests that the song is actually referring to a prisoner, literally trapped in a cage. In this case, prison. "The crane and turtle slipped" is one of the more confusing lines of the song, but both animals are considered good omens in Japan. Thus, by mentioning that both animals have slipped, it's thought this line is referring to something unlucky happening, of bad luck coming up. Here, it's likely referring to a prisoner who is about to face execution. His time is up, and as for who's standing behind him, well, it's death, the executioner, the darkness waiting for his end. Another theory suggests that the song is actually about a miscarriage, and again, the key lies in Kagome, even using the same kanji as the prostitute theory, that is, a cage and a woman. However, this theory suggests that it's not a woman stuck in a cage, but rather a woman carrying a cage, namely, a pregnant woman with a child inside her womb. The womb is the cage. This theory suggests that the lyrics are telling the tale of a pregnant woman whose family is in the midst of an inheritance dispute. Because she's pregnant and about to bring another child into the family, this greatly upsets her first child, who would otherwise receive their inheritance alone. Another child means they'll have to share. The night of dawn here suggests that the woman is just before her due date, ready to give birth to the new baby, yet that is stripped away from her when she slips and is pushed down the stairs by the other child standing behind her. This version of the song is the tale of a mother's sadness, a mother's anger, of the loss of a child due to the jealousy of another. Another theory is called the Enlightenment theory. The theme of someone being trapped is strong amongst all of these, and this one suggests that it's actually us who are trapped inside our own bodies. The bird in the cage is us, our soul trapped inside our flesh. When will we come out? When will we be freed from our physical forms? This theory suggests that the crane and the turtle didn't slip, but rather gives another meaning for suberu, to consolidate, to unite. If the crane and turtle represent yin and yang, by uniting those you will, in essence, wake up. Who is that behind you? It's your true self. You have become enlightened. Now, there's another theory, and this is where it gets really outlandish. Until now, most theories have suggested that the lyrics are about being trapped, either physically, emotionally, or spiritually. This theory, however, suggests something entirely different. the song is actually a map to the Tokugawa dynasty's hidden gold. The Battle of Toba Fushimi took place during the Boshin War, lasting from January 27, 1868 to January 31, 1868. It was only 5 days long, but it saw the pro-imperial forces take up arms against the Tokugawa shogunate as they tried to reclaim the throne for the Japanese emperor. The Tokugawa shogunate were thoroughly battered, and on the night of January 30th, Tokugawa Yoshinobu fled from Osaka Castle back to Edo. This small yet important battle marked the change of the tide for the Tokugawa shogunate, with many neutral daimyo taking this opportunity to pledge their support to the imperial forces instead, seeing the shogun's weakness in flight. Yoshinobu eventually surrendered himself to the imperial court after his return and handed Edo Castle over to the imperial army. This saved Edo from breaking out into an all-out war, but it's said that when the imperial army opened Edo Castle's treasury, they found it empty. Yoshinobu had apparently hidden the Tokugawa's 380 billion yen worth of gold bullion before giving up the castle. So then, where did he hide it? Perhaps the instructions to find the hidden gold were right there for those willing to look, hidden in the lyrics of a children's song that became popular during the Edo era. It's said that in Edo and its surrounding areas, you can find 6 temples and shrines connected to the Tokugawa family that make a hexagram. At the center of that hexagram is Nikko Toshogu in Nikko City, Tochigi Prefecture. This shrine is dedicated to Tokugawa Ieyasu, the founder of the Tokugawa shogunate. Ieyasu's remains are also enshrined there, and the depository for sacred objects as well as the inner sanctum are also decorated with pairs of cranes and turtles. Sound familiar? By using the morning light, the night of dawn, and following the shadow that these crane and turtle statues cast, you will supposedly find the location of the hidden gold. Considering that no one has yet found this supposed gold, it's probably safe to assume that it doesn't actually exist. But it's certainly an interesting twist on an old children's song. Alternatively, a similar theory suggests that it's not the Tokugawa gold that the song refers to, but rather the Ashina, a clan who rose to prominence during the Sengoku period. Both the words turtle and crane have been used as pseudonyms for the Ashina family castle, although this one seems even more of a stretch than the Tokugawa gold. Aside from these numerous theories, there are other stories also told about the song and the powers it supposedly contains. One suggests that if you play the game without a person in the middle, when you reach the bird in the cage lyrics, you will be able to summon a ghost to the middle of the circle instead. You can then ask that spirit questions, like a game of Kokkuri-san. You can also use the song to perform black magic, either summoning a kami-sama to possess the middle child of a family, or using this song and game as a ritual to uncover who is the true leader or ruler of something. For example, the real power behind the emperor. These are, of course, just rumors, but they add to the already dark mythology surrounding the song. Ultimately, nobody knows what Kagome Kagome is about. That's why so many theories, stories, and legends exist. Nobody knows who created the song, where it was created, why it was created, and what it's supposed to mean. It became a popular children's song, especially after Yamanaka helped spread it countrywide during the early Showa era, but it's unlikely we'll ever truly know what it means. The meaning has long been lost to time, if there ever was any meaning at all. Now the song is what you make of it, and no interpretation is any more or less deserving than another. Is it the tale of a bullied child, a young girl forced into prostitution, a grieving mother, directions to hidden treasure, a prisoner on death row, the path to enlightenment? With the true meaning lost to the ages, Only you can decide what it means to you now, and that alone will keep the urban legends flowing for years to come. And that brings us to the end of this week's episode. You can help support us and get early access to both this show and Kawabana over at our Patreon at patreon.com/TaraADevlin. And if you want even more urban legends, Toshiden Volume 3 is available on Amazon right now, so don't miss out. Thanks guys, and I'll see you again next time for even more Toshiden, exploring Japanese urban legends. Want even more scary stories? Head over to kawabana.net for new translations every week. You can also join our Patreon for exclusive stories you won't find anywhere else. Head over to kawabana.net now.